It was quite tough, and my co-stars used to say, "Dekha abhi phap layega." He used to think in English, translate,
Translate it.
and talk in Hindi. हाथी जब हगता भी है ना, वो 1 टन का हगता. Now I've broken so many things. I tore my Achilles tendon recently in football. I broke this. My left knee is gone. Both my shoulders are gone. So now I focus on not getting injured.
Are you a loser? Are you a freak? Do you need a lover? Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me.
So, welcome to another episode of Real Strugglers, where we talk to real filmmakers and actors about their struggles working in the chaotic world of films. Today, our guest is actor, dancer, reality TV star, and overall legend, Eijaz Khan.
Thank you so much. Recently I started watching US reality TV shows just to figure out how different they are.
Are they any different?
That's a different genre, but different species altogether.
Which one did you watch?
I don't know, one of those dating things, man. They put everyone together and the cone comes out.
The
all
hot
time.
thing, what's it called? It's hot in the title, right? Too hot to handle.
Yeah, too hard to handle, I think.
Yeah, it's a show where basically they get a bunch of good-looking people in one place, and if you hook up with each other, you lose points or something
Yeah,
like that.
basically no sex.
Yeah.
20,000 rupees.
I mean, if you're in the show and you have like these people around you, like break the rule, dude. There's no other.
It's very tricky, very interesting though.
But so originally, like we did speak like on one of our drives when we were going to set once about.
did?
Yeah, we
How
did.
long back was this?
This was in 2017, City of Dreams season 1.
We
19.
started shooting in 19,
Oh.
I think. Oh, no. 19 was the telecast, is it?
Yeah, 2018 or
18.
I joined Nagesh sir 2017 Jan. And I think we did City of Dreams towards the second half of that year, maybe. So 2019, you're right.
Yeah.
We did Recce's and all 2018 end. So yeah, in one of our drives, you were telling me about how you started off originally as a dancer.
Yeah.
And so wait, how did that like even come into your life?
So I was from OLPS Chembur. There were a lot of extracurricular activities in that school, from sports to dancing. And we had some good ex-students from the school who used to come and choreograph Broadway musicals at a school level. So Brian Fernandez, a very close friend of mine, came and convinced me and my brother on a Thursday, which used to be a holiday. Come and try it out. It's very simple. I can do it. Guys, even you can. Come on. So we went and we tried it, and I aced it the first time itself. And I thought, this is something I can do. And as you are, I was very socially awkward. I think till the 10th grade or something, I didn't really have the balls to speak to a girl. I mean, even right now, it's more or less if the girl speaks to me, well and good. You know, I don't really venture into figuring out how should I impress somebody. So it was a nice way to get attention, I think, and that goaded me. And I went on to do some performances in school. And luckily, the choreographers who were doing the choreography for our Broadway musicals in school went on to do professional choreography for Anaina, Mehnas and all. That's how I got into it. It was cool. I couldn't do much, but during my engineering breaks, I got to do Screen Panasonic Awards or something. And then that's what pushed me into professional dancing.
So it was like a side hustle through college?
Yeah.
And you were making money with it as well?
Yeah. Making money, meeting a lot of people. You would get to travel.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And I think post my engineering, I was so fed up, I wanted to tour the world. I joined Ganesh Agree's dance troupe. So once in a year, 3 months, I think we used to tour around 21 cities in the US, in Canada, in Europe, Spain. I went everywhere. And we had a very good time.
And then acting was a byproduct of this, or like was that something that you had in the back of your mind?
You
or-
know, I just did this film with Shah Rukh Khan, Jawan. The first time I worked with him was in Wembley, Showman of the Millennium in 2000, with Ganesh Agni only. And that's where I got to do small skits with him during performing, during dancing. And that's where Zarina Mehta, Screwwala, saw me. Ken Ghosh saw me. And they figured out if I can hold my own in front of Shah Rukh, I could be launched in a film or a TV show. So they offered me. Ken offered me Ishq Pyar Vyar. and he made me go and meet the producer. It didn't work out, I think. And Zarina Mehta offered me Sarhade. That also didn't work out, but then I figured out if they are interested in investing their time and effort in me, I could capitalize on this lottery that I got with my looks or whatever, and I should figure out if I can be good at this. And anytime I used to dance or I used to do ad films, the director would tell me, "Acha, isko aage le lo." I used to be next to the main model. So I thought I can go for ad films, and I started going for auditions for ad films in Famous Studio. I used to take my bike and go to Famous Studio in town.
And you were living in Chembur at the time?
Chembur, Mulund, my father had already shifted to Mulund, so I was in Mulund then.
Okay.
And almost every audition that I went to, I kind of got that film or I was shortlisted. There were 4 or 5 boys used to get shortlisted all the time. I got a good deal. My first ad film was Chlormint. That ad campaign, I did 7 ads. I made 5 ads. I made 7 lakhs on it. That was a lot of money then. I survived. I broke my shoulder in Sohailbhai's film. I survived on it. But so I started doing that, and then while dancing, Sohailbhai, Salman Bhai's brother, offered me Maine Dil Tujhko Diya to play one of the friends' roles in the film. So that's where I did my first film.
And was it a difficult thing to understand what to do? Because when we were doing City of Dreams, as an actor, like you were the type of actor you'd give a scene to and you'd bring so much of your own personality, understanding of the scene and elements into the scene. Was that something that you did from day one, or was it something that you built towards?
So in television, I had the good fortune of doing a variety of roles, from a hardcore negative, from some mythological killer to some supernatural guy to a very good son, a good husband, to somebody misunderstood. And I tried to figure out my own method in it, what suited me. What suited me the most was if I bring a certain element of my personality, accentuate it, explore it more, let it blossom more, and adapt that to my character that I'm playing. Of course, if the character required me to be negative, then I would rely on some kind of personal experience of mine. Go with that. Go with my own personal conviction and my own personal experience rather than just relying on the experience of the character or somebody else's understanding of the character. That, I think, gives a lot of authenticity to it. It is very close to bringing your own truth and exemplifying it. So that works for me.
But when, like, for example, when you're bringing your own truth through something, like, you may have like XYZ traits, but you may need to drop 1 or 2 traits to fit with this character.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that you kind of like do in a more like scientific way, where you're like figuring out, okay, this is, if I was this person, these traits won't carry forward over here. How do you decipher what are the traits that you take from yourself to these characters?
What adds to the character, what adds to the truth and authenticity of the character, and what decorates the character a little more for it to be real. That's what I would imbibe. That's what I would bring out from myself and add to that character so that there is a certain amount of authenticity and truth to it. Otherwise, of course, if I'm playing some IB officer or military officer or something, I'm not a military officer. I wouldn't know what it is. So I would speak to some people. I would speak to understand their experiences. Then try to figure out if I experienced that, what I would feel. Then I would try to understand if the character experiences that with the character's background, with the character's childhood, with the character's thinking, with the character's philosophy, with the character's culture. What would the character react, or how would the character understand that particular situation? Then amalgamate it and make it something.
A lot of that is learning on the job for
Absolutely,
you, right?
yeah. It happened during television. A lot happened during television, and then by the time I did some films, had the good fortune of working with brilliant directors who helped me understand the character. So I brought out a certain element of mine and played the character as entertainingly as possible. But when it comes to a web show or the kind of films that I'm doing right now, there is a lot of layering to the character. That's what the audience also likes to see and enjoy. If you just played black and white, you wouldn't enjoy doing it, and in turn the audience wouldn't.
It becomes a little superficial.
It does, but sometimes it is as simple as that. Yeah, if you're just supposed to ring the bell and enter the room, you don't have to
Correct.
really imagine a lot of things. You're just supposed to do that. That also gives it a different sense of authenticity कि इतना simple ही है, घंटी मार के अंदर आना था और कुछ नहीं करना था. अगर तुम सोचते हो घंटी मार के अच्छा अंदर कौन है, मैं अंदर जाके क्या करूँगा, वो भी अजीब लगता है कभी-कभी. So you have to pick and choose कि आप कौन से approach से you can make it as good as possible and not show that you are acting.
So in your early 20s, when you were like doing, when you were going the rounds, doing the auditions and stuff, how many auditions would you give in a week?
20s, it was basically ad films, so mostly it would be 1 or 2 auditions in a week.
Okay.
And I would only go to the auditions when I was called through certain coordinators, because I knew they would call me for the act roles. नहीं तो कोई धोबी के लिए बुला रहा था, कोई किसी और के लिए बुला रहा था. I said I wouldn't want to work with them. So whenever I went for those, I knew I would be shortlisted. At that time, acting कुछ ज़्यादा समझ में नहीं आती थी.
But was there any element of passion with what you were doing, or was it just like it's a career?
I was basically exploring. Am I good at this? I wasn't really sure. I just thought that, ठीक है, I'm getting so much attention from everyone. Looks है, और थोड़ा geographical lottery भी थी, और a genetic lottery भी थी. So I thought I should capitalize on it. So why not? You make do with whatever you have at whatever stage you have, and you make do the best with it. So if I had this, I wanted to capitalize on it.
You were an introvert, right? So how did you still are? And but I mean, you do have to put yourself, a lot of like getting work over here involves like making contacts, networking with people.
That's why.
How do you navigate that?
That's why I am where I am. Otherwise, I'd probably be somewhere else. I don't know how to laugh at jokes. I don't know how to joke around. I don't know how to be an entertaining person otherwise in real life. If you've seen me on set also with Nagesh, I get along with him because I don't have to be that person.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask him how's his day been and, navigate around to butter somebody up to get to my way. I don't have to do that. Eventually, I end up working with people who understand what I bring to the table. He's been very gracious, man. In every interview, he says that. He let me explore Wasim Khan as much as possible. And he gave me the freedom to do, and I am very thankful to him for that. I have made peace with that I'm not going to be the marketing genius of Eijaz Khan. I'm okay the way I am.
So was Big Boss one of the reasons that you want, for you to put yourself out there in a bigger audience?
I really don't know why I did Big Boss. I think all of us were very scared during the pandemic. Kaam hone wala, nahi hone wala, because everything was just getting pushed.
I remember because Ranjit was talking to me because of COD scheduling at that time. He said, I can't find any date to put it because every date gets pushed because of COVID.
Yeah. मैं दाढ़ी मूछे बढ़ा के बॉडी बना के कब से बैठा था? Since March. And we really didn't know what was going to happen, right? So this was a good opportunity. I had always said no to Big Boss, but I thought we were going in a safe space. I didn't give it much thought. Sometimes you shouldn't think a lot. You should just jump. Take that leap of faith.
Was it a financial thing that was it that would motivate you?
Also, I didn't know what was going to happen, what was going to happen to the world. I didn't know how we were going to make money. This was a good opportunity. The money was good. And I thought, how difficult can it be? But trust me, still paying the price. I'm still going for therapy.
Okay, let's go back to when you were getting your first few gigs. So Sohail Khan put you in this film where you played Sohail Khan's friend.
He was launching himself.
Okay. And so in those kind of, from there, how do you start moving away from getting typecasted as friend character? Because that's a thing that a lot of people find hard to break away from also.
Now we have a choice. At that time, we didn't even give it a thought. Now there is a lot of thinking that goes on in terms of career choices, in terms of acting choices, because there is a lot of work happening now. At that time, there wasn't. I just thought I was lucky that I would get to act in a film with Sohail Bhai. Unfortunately, I broke my shoulder in the film. It set me back by 2 years. I broke the shoulder twice during a fight sequence. My hand was stuck to my rib cage like this because I couldn't move it.
Like a rotator cuff injury?
Yeah, tore my rotator cuff.
Okay.
Like 2 of them, I think. and the surgery was slightly botched up. I fell on my shoulder during a song sequence in the film. My brother had to stand in for me in some fight sequences. In some of the film, some parts of the film, you can see my hand like that, awkward all the time. That was a very tough time, man. A really, really tough time. I didn't know where my next check was going to come, but luckily I had done some ad films, so my checks were coming. So I could afford, I'd left my house by then, I could afford the surgery, I could afford therapy that goes on. I remember that time how I used to do my physiotherapy. I used to tie my hand to a pulley that I had in Bandra. I used to live in this small terrace room in Bandra, and there was a gym attached to it. Gym as in just a pulley and a bench.
Yeah.
And I used to tie my hand to the pulley and keep pulling it to make sure this starts moving. I had a small computer, and I used to study how rugby players used to come back in the season after their rotator cuff injury. And I was lucky to have Bipul Chawla as my physiotherapist, who was passed away unfortunately during the Nepal earthquake. He was at the Everest Base Camp.
Okay.
I was very lucky that he was my physiotherapist and a very straightforward, no-nonsense guy. So he really helped me. But then I went on to do some item numbers. I did
I'm wondering what a male item number looks like.
Dili Ki Sardi. That's what it looks like with Amrita Arora.
Okay.
Then there were a couple of other songs that I did in some different films.
Yeah.
And then I went on through some 15 music videos. I was a dancer / model.
Okay.
So because I could dance, they could call me in the music video just half a day and finish it off. My first music video was Leena the Chuk Chuk Mix. Leena, oh Leena, that's how. That was a mix of it. And then
But did you have dance training, or was it just that one time in school that you just went on stage for that?
every time there was a show, I used to work with different choreographers and they would train us. They would
Okay.
take time off and train us.
So do they have their own do they have their own like some?
You learn on the go.
Okay.
You learn, you have to figure out your way.
Were you ever bad at it though?
Oh, terrible. In Ganesh Agnes, I think I was the worst.
And did he give you shit for it?
Oh, tons of it. But you have to figure out a way out.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah. But I played on my looks. They used to put me behind the star. So in the television block, whenever they used to shoot the star, the two boys behind would be seen mostly. So
Yeah.
that was okay.
But so all that would have also translated to other work also, right? Because you are interacting with people who are very actively working in films.
No.
No?
Nobody really thought that any dancer would end up as an actor. Very few of them have. I was lucky because I went into modeling after that, and that was like a stepping stone.
Okay.
In one of the ad films, Sandeep Sikar, who was a producer, who was a producer with Balaji then, he saw me and he thought I was my brother. He called to my brother, you started doing ad films, you want to do television now. My brother said it's Eijaz, so he called me and I went to meet him. And then I think television was almost booming then. So Ekta made me sign a 3-year exclusive contract the day I walked in 15 minutes, and that was it. There was no struggle as such, but after I signed up, then the struggle started. At that time, I couldn't even speak proper Hindi.
So, what your main language at home or community is English?
My
Okay.
father would speak to us in English or Marathi.
Okay.
So there was no Hindi speaking. It was quite tough, and my co-stars used to say, "Dekha abhi phap laega." Because I used to think in English, translate
it.
and talk in Hindi. And there used to be a dirty Bandra accent to it. So they used to make fun of me, but then what I did was refuse to go home.
Yeah.
Every time I shot, all the work that I got, I kept on taking in Bangalore. That means doing 2 shifts to 3 shifts a day. And I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the hard work. That wasn't my time to put in my 10,000 hours. So even after the shoot, I used to go to the edit and figure out why they have kept certain shots, why the actor has acted in a certain way. I used to look up to Ronit, I used to look up to Etain. I used to see the shots, I used to see what worked in television and then figure out what works for me. how can I make it more natural? How can I make it more conducive to the kind of audience I was catering to?
So that's also one thing. Like when you're watching your own takes, what do you look at to understand what's working or not? How do you break it down when you're watching
I am very self-critical.
Okay.
Because I think I see my flaws very easily, and then I kind of focus on the flaws so much that I get lost. I have an acting coach called Atul Mathur, and he always tells me, "Beta, एक बात याद रखना, हाथी जब हगता भी है ना, वो 1 ton का हगता." So now I'm a little okay. I know that my bare minimum will also be decent. Now, at that time I did. At that time I was learning. At that time, a lot of co-actors gave me a lot of shit. You're cutting my light. You are. तो pause नहीं ले रहा है, तो बोल नहीं रहा है ऐसे, मेरे बोलने के लिए रोकना. I took it in my stride. Nikta was always very supportive. She gave me a lot of opportunities, from playing a brother's role to playing a parallel lead to playing a main lead in one of the biggest shows in television. So I'm very thankful I got those opportunities.
So TV, when you're working on TV, you're sometimes doing an episode a day, right? And when you
Sometimes you're doing that day's episode.
yeah, like it's literally going to go on that night. But so that's a lot of time pressure on you as well to perform in a certain way.
Yeah.
So in your earlier episodes that we were shooting, maybe your first few episodes, how did you get used to keeping up with that kind of pacing?
You have to, otherwise you don't survive. You get kicked out.
But how do you survive without being bad at what you're doing?
What happens is if you're bad at a few things, then your scenes keep getting cut.
Okay.
But if you keep getting good at it, then your scenes keep getting added.
Okay.
And if you're playing a parallel lead or a lead, then you don't have a choice. You have to deliver. For instance, when I was doing Kavyanjali, there was another boy who was actually the main lead of the show. He couldn't deliver, so he was replaced by me.
So like the show started off with him, and then your character was developed further.
I overnight replaced him.
What? Like you just became that person?
That's what happens. And the audience accepts it.
Oh wow! Like we think so many times, like he's wearing a different shade of red from the last scene.
We have a very sympathetic audience in television.
So, so this is probably the first time you were living a comfortable life on your own, like, right? Because of TV. Because there's good money in TV, there's consistent work.
Yeah, I bought my house.
So, did you think that, okay, I've reached a point where I'm satisfied with what I'm doing and I don't want more, or were you still hungry?
No, because whatever I earned in television, whatever I did, I couldn't really taste the success of it because I was only shooting. And then while finishing with television, while I was getting burnt out, I got a 3-film contract with PNC. I had done a guest appearance in Shah, Just Married. Sarongita Gandhi, she gave me a 3-film contract. I shot for 2 films simultaneously. No, one after the other. Unluckily, they didn't get released. Raw nerve.
Yeah, I know, because it's something that you tell people like, oh, I'm acting in this film, and you're excited about it because it's probably your first or second big film, and then...
And at that time, people didn't want to touch television actors with a barge pole for films.
Okay.
Because...
Even Ronit Roy and all, but they started in television.
This was in 2008. Now things are different.
Okay. Now that's around the time of Udaan also, yeah.
Yeah. Things are very different now. Because all the producers or people from the industry would think that नहीं overexposure television में इसका एक कैरेक्टर बना हुआ है टेलीविजन में और इसका टेलीविजन का रिकॉल बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है या मुफ्त में अगर कोई इसे रोज टीवी पर देखता तो पैसे दे के कौन देखने आएगा. सो कुछ हद तक वो अभी भी है शायद, बट एट दैट टाइम इट वाज रियली प्रोनाउंस्ड. But luckily, I got a very big film with the Ramesh Darshan.
Which was?
Bhavra.
Okay.
Which was also shot, and unfortunately, that didn't release. There are different reasons. I mean, I did my job.
But what was your state of mind when, because you just mentioned 3 films that you've done around the same
I
time?
have no idea, man. I waited for 3-4 years. I took a break from television. I was surviving on whatever I had earned in television. I was at the peak of my career in television. If I would have continued, I would have had another 4 houses, but I chose to pursue a different stream. I chose to pursue the next level of acting, which I thought I could. And I did. I think I did decent work, and Mirabai Not Out also. Even in Navra, I did a decent job. But unfortunately, they didn't see the light of day. It was very, very depressing. And then I was going through some personal issues also. And I remember there were a few friends who really supported me through it. Varuna Raina was one of them. Brian was one of them. My brother was there. But as men, we don't really go out and ask for help. You know, I'm really screwed in the head. Only when it comes to kind of, God, I can't deal with this anymore. You're crying or you're bawling or something. Then these friends, they are around and they give you very brutal support. So that was there. It was really, really difficult. So I ended up doing some guest spot in television once in a while. What helped me survive was a lot of festival events used to happen on television. Holi ka event, Diwali, Independence Day, and I would dance in those things. And they would give me decent money. So I had some free time, and I had money coming in through this. Then Tanu Weds Manu happened. Tanu Weds Manu was a game changer for me again.
Was that something that was tough for you to get? Like in terms of like, were you like, was it a long casting process or was
No,
it?
there was no casting process.
No?
The producer of Tanu Weds Manu, Sailesh C, we met during the promotions of Mirabai Not Out and his film Dil Kabaddi, I think. And we used to end up talking to each other during the promotions. So we kind of bonded over that. He had said that kuch rahega to main aapko bataunga. So in Tanu Weds Manu, I think somebody else was supposed to play Jassi's character. Sailesh sir just called me one day, idhar aaja Mahada mein, kisi se milana hai. So I went over there and he made me meet Anand sir and said, Jassi ka role ye karega. That's it. I was like, अच्छा क्या है तो नहीं ऐसा रोल है ऐसा है तो मुझे बोला सर ऐसा मतलब सरदार जी का रोल है सर मैंने पंजाबी तो मैं नहीं बोलता लेकिन आपने जो कैरेक्टर समझाया ये मैं जानता हूँ इस कैरेक्टर को मैं कर सकता हूँ मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी मैं कर सकता हूँ then we went to Jalandhar and we were shooting for it and then I befriended a lot of locals over there to get the dialect right. We had a lot of fun shooting there. I need to add this because our producer was so hell-bent on getting Anand sir's vision the way he wanted. He really worked hard.
And that's a really important producer to have who's like on the team and not like
He would
thinking about the.
say, "Acha kya chahiye?" He would come back to Bombay, arrange it, and come back.
So when you did come back to television, is it difficult to like when you're doing TV acting and film acting or web series acting? How do you treat them as different mediums as an actor?
Now I have more clarity about this. At that time, I didn't.
Okay.
At that time, all I did was try to be as true to the scene. And I think most of it was fluke. In film, you are so blessed that you're working with the best of the best in the industry. It brings out your best. Even your worst tends to be okay enough for the scene to work. I mean, as long as you're not fucking up the lines, as long as you're not in the right frame, as long as you're not in the right mood, as long as your director is bringing you to that place in the story, all you have to do is react, be the character and react. That works. But in television, you have to do a lot of hard work because the parameters are very tight. But web is a completely different monster.
It's not like the middle ground between the two?
No. It's tons of hard work. You sit with 12, 40-page scripts. You have to figure out your character arc. You have to figure out every character's character arc. Because in every episode, the interdynamics keeps changing. Every scene, it keeps changing. And you don't shoot it in a linear way. Right?
Yeah,
You shoot it according to
location-based.
location.
Yeah.
So you have to be on your toes all the bloody time. You have to know everything. You have to do your homework. There is no escape.
And you're really good with remembering lines because I don't think we've ever had to cue you on set.
No, like
Is
I
that
dread it.
is it the TV training? Like, because you probably get like large scripts over there also, and you have to like rattle all the lines
Yeah,
without any.
but what happened was there was a lot of gap between a lot of my television shows and then me coming into AM. So I don't think I carried on that training in a certain way. But my only rule is I sit with the next day's scenes the previous night. I do an hour or 2 hours of homework. I figure out where the scene has landed. I figure out this character's journey in that scene, where he's coming from, where he's going, and where the characters in the scene are going to take him. And I make notes in the script. I'm sure that, before the shoot already starts, I have done most of this.
Okay.
I have figured out a few things and I make my notes in the script. This is how I want to approach the scene. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to ask the director. This is my approach to the scene. Then, on the previous night of the shoot, I do more rigorous homework. And the next day, all I have to do is, before the scene starts, before I step out of the vanity, I just glance it once. That's it.
And this has been, for how long has this process been with you now?
I developed this in TV, I feel, because I worked with a few directors in television who said that they did not want us to come on set with the script in hand. They said that that is insulting to your co-actor who's done his homework or her homework and come. So you don't come on the set and start reading and learning lines. You learn your lines and come. I think that was my schooling in television. And that stayed with me.
Is there a certain process that you use as an actor to be able to do scenes that you find hard to maybe relate to? Like if it's a scene that involves like crying, or if it's a scene that involves like, I don't know, like getting really pissed off with someone, and like, where do you draw these things from? Or is it something that you can just like, it's like a switch, you can just flip it on? How does it work for you?
Now it's a little easier. Now I just draw myself into a space I can start crying. But crying, smiling, laughing, there are different types of it.
Correct. It's drawn from a certain
It's drawn from
activity.
a certain emotion.
Yeah.
You tap into that emotion. Sometimes you play it as a craft where it's not really coming. Come on, you have to give 8 takes sometimes. You can't really tap into it. You get emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
So what you do is you speak to the director saying that, sir, ये 2 shot तो अभी आप ले रहे हैं. जब close-up आएंगे ना, close-up या OS लेंगे क्या आप? हाँ, yeah, I will take OS. Or this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a 2 shot only. So give your whole now. Or save it, and in your 2 shot, you tap into that emotion. I want more expression there. So it works that way. It is easier for me to get into a zone now because my focus has really improved. At different times, I approach it differently.
Okay.
Sometimes it is very methodical, very unemotional. Sometimes I really have to get into that zone. Sometimes I have to tap into some childhood memory or something that really moves me, or I imagine something bad happening to somebody I love and bring it to the fore.
But these are things you learned on the job. Like, has anyone helped you, like, told you about these
I have
tools?
done a lot of workshops.
Okay. You did mention you have an acting coach.
Yeah, I have an acting coach. I went to Adishakti Commune also.
Pondicherry.
Yeah, I have done plenty of workshops otherwise also. And then you pick and choose your tools which work for you. Your toolkit keeps improving over the period of time. With you keep sharpening your tools. You keep figuring out, okay, this is not working. You're going to throw this off.
Has there ever been a point where you've been unhappy with the kind of work you've been doing, and then you had to do some self-reflection and build towards improving your craft?
Yeah.
What made you think that, and how did you improve on your craft?
Sometimes I tend to get complacent. Then I have to do a complete reformat. What do? The easiest thing is do a week-long acting workshop with newcomers. Like, I don't know anything. I'm going to approach this as naked as possible. And then it's very interesting that when you're working with rank newcomers, the innocence rubs off. You also tend to cleanse yourself as much as possible and you reformat and come back.
But what made you feel like you needed this cleanse? Was it the kind of work you were doing, or were you not happy when you were watching your own performances? What was it?
That has happened very few times. I'll tell you where this helps me most. In whatever show I do or whatever film or whatever project I do, there are a few scenes where I feel I got stuck. Because when I read the scene, when I imagined the scene, I imagined it in a certain way. And that stayed with me. And when the director wanted, he wanted it in a certain different way. And I couldn't deliver that. That is what kills me. When I think about the scene on hindsight, I feel, oh my God, I could have done this, I could have done that. I froze. I was anxiety about having anxiety. You know, I was doing the scene bad because I was scared that I was going to do the scene bad.
Yeah, you're going in on the wrong foot anyway.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's not Sunday every day. But with your experience, you know your bare minimum is going to be okay. Now, what I do is, after I finish a project, I take a conscious break. I tend not to do 2 projects at a time. I take a conscious break, before I start a project, I tend to do a workshop. That helps me.
Okay. So that's your default reset button for everything you're about to start.
Yeah.
So in terms of your careers, like since you started, has there ever been a point where you thought you'd ever quit what you're doing and switch gears and do something completely different?
No, yeah, I never thought once I figure out I can act. I can do a decent job. That was way back in 2008-9. I thought, ठीक है, acting तो process चलता रहेगा. मुझे समझ है director की. I can understand what the director wants. And mostly I end up working with directors who our minds can be aligned together. If we come from completely different worlds of thinking, of philosophy, of how you approach life and your beliefs or something, it tends to clash somewhere. It tends to be abrasive. So I end up with directors who more or less are from the same book, if not the same page. I never ever thought that now I want to do something else besides acting. Even production, producing or directing or something, I don't want to do that. I think there is so much dopamine left for me to extract from this process. I don't want to finish it.
Do you think you found passion in what you do?
I love what I do.
And did you know you'd ever love this, or it was just something that you grew to love?
No, something that I grew to love. I really didn't know that I could be a decent actor. And you know now, Karan, what I find fascinating is trying to find that essence of truth in our lives. As an actor, I have to be a very good liar. But if I can bring that essence of truth in it now, and that comes from your own authenticity. When I can superimpose my authenticity in that character and then all of a sudden, in a penny drop moment, it becomes true. That is what resonates with the audience, and your audience will come and tell you, you did that, I loved it. I enjoyed that character, I enjoyed that scene. And that's what gives you a high, or that's what codes you to do more, I guess.
It's like when validation is coming from a very specific point, you know that they've actually taken the time out to think that that's actually made an impact on them because they're bringing out such a specific thing,
I don't think I'm looking for validation because I'm comfortable. Of course, if it's coming from SRK, it's a different thing. But now I enjoy the process. It is not the end product that after I finish it and people will see and people will like it. It's not that. I enjoy the process of finding truth in those lies. I enjoy that. And of course, the plus point or the bonus is the audience also loves it.
So how do you understand what the audience likes and not likes? Do you read your DMs? Do you sit and wear a cap in the middle of a movie theater and watch them watch your movies?
You can't change your grammar with how the audience is going to react. This is your understanding, this is your grammar, and this is how much. Of course, I don't mean you go completely south. Kuch alag hi karo. Not that. Basically, over the period of time, you have understood this is what works with the audience, what works with the audience, what works with the audience, and you've made a map
Conscious
in your head. These are the things that work, and you pick and choose from there.
And is how have different directors how have you grown with the different directors you worked with?
A lot, yeah. Because
Like specific qualities that you picked
every
up.
director comes with his own philosophy and method of working.
Yeah.
Right? And then you imbibe that. And you keep the best with you. And that just breaks your barriers. That just gives you a different yardstick to compare yourself with from the previous project.
Like for example, Tanu Weds Manu. Like what was specific to that film that you brought back and have used for the rest of your career going forward from there?
Most important is Anand sir enjoys life, enjoys good food, he enjoys a good scene, he enjoys good writing, he enjoys his actors, he loves loving them. When you create that atmosphere on set, that positivity reflects in everything in that scene. Even if the scene is sad or even if the scene is very cruel, there will be a cloud or the backdrop will be something beautiful and positive. You will find something beautiful in that also. That is what I carried from Anand sir.
So now Nagesh sir now, for example. That's a very different set.
There's a method to madness. You don't know what is going on. You know, recently what he told me, there was a lot of shit going on before we started shooting for season 3. I'd broken 2 metatarsals in my foot. I was constantly in touch with Ranjit and my surgeon. When will I be able to walk? Which shoe will I wear because my right foot is swollen? My first scene is I'm supposed to be marching. क्या करेंगे रंजीत बैठने की सीन पहले कर बाद में कर. Nagesh told me later on, much later, Eijaz, you should have just come and spoken to me. I said, sir, I was a little worried. He says, well, there was a head of department who was working on the project and she just got up and left because she had some personal issue. He or she. And somebody else had to come. He said, these things work out eventually.
Yeah.
So don't stress out so much. This is what I got from him in this season 3. Otherwise, what I imbibed from him was the methodical approach he has to everything. And then there is a familiar pattern to how he approaches a scene which you know and which you
Understand the more you work
understand and which you tend to deliver the more you work with him.
with them. Okay, let's move on to another topic. So if in terms of like the advice you'd give to aspiring actors, what kind of advice would you give? Like people who want to break into films at a young age, trying to figure that shit out right now.
I don't think newcomers nowadays need any advice. They know exactly what to do.
But what would your like one bit of gyan be?
Theatre join karo.
Did you ever do theatre? Like
I tried, yeah, but every time I ended up wanting to do a play, some other project came and I had to give it up. I was going to do Khalid Mohammad's Kennedy Bridge with Richa Chadda, Hani Filal. That's why we had gone to Pondicherry.
Okay, so Adi Shakti was a part of that prep. Okay.
Yeah. And luckily, otherwise I didn't even know about it then. We rehearsed for like 3 months or something, but some bullshit happened. That's why I couldn't do it.
But would you ever like consider doing it now when you're...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Kadak actors रहते theatre के. Nowadays the casting process में भी आता है that they want theatre actors.
Yeah. And I think one thing about theatre actors are they're very flexible with change, because on theatre you're so used to things changing on the spot, like you're live on stage.
It works for you and works against you sometimes.
Like how would it work for you and how would it work against you? What is your take on that?
Sometimes it's difficult to give it structure. Hair issues, I don't want to speak ill about theatre actors. Kuch hai, which I've encountered sometimes. So eventually when they have good experience with on this format, they kind of figure it out.
And so theatre is one thing that you would say people should also.
Primarily, instead of going to the gym, just do a damn play.
But how much is physicality important for your roles that you get? Like because even like people do want like good-looking, fit people in the things they cast for.
Not anymore.
That's second nature. Like
You gotta be
that's
real.
secondary.
If the character's requirement is to be good looking, then it's different. No, you don't necessarily have to be good looking to be an actor. You basically have to be a good actor. However you look. There is a place for all kinds of looks. You don't have to worry about that. If you have a passion for it and you finish your education, I think, or study acting, man. Go to a film school. There are different courses that you can do. I wish I had done that. Now I'm reading on the Stanislavski's methods, on different approach to method acting or different things that I enjoy. Now I'm reading about it. Instead of doing engineering, I should have gone to movie school, yeah.
But you also like the exposure to like these different types of curriculums or courses weren't there, right? Or were there? Like, did you know that people go and study acting in like
I
universities?
knew it, but at that time I didn't know what I wanted to do.
If you didn't didn't become an actor, what did you think you were going to end up doing?
I don't know. I was worried.
Are you the youngest of your siblings?
No, eldest.
Eldest.
But we were very independent. So I left my house. I knew kuch na kuch to kar hi lunga.
But was your family supportive of the decision of you going down this line?
Not really.
Did it take time for you to convince them, or did they get convinced with
There was
you
no
finding
need
success?
to convince them. We were already on our paths, and it's only my dad. And my dad made sure that we got a formal education. That's about it. He finished his responsibilities there. And apart from that, he was worried कि regular काम नहीं है क्या है. But even with my brother, he figured out that he realized that they're doing the right thing.
Your brother's also in this line of work?
He's a filmmaker. He's an ad filmmaker.
Okay.
Director.
Has he ever casted you in an ad?
Only in his struggling phase. No.
So nepotism hasn't worked out. But so there's theatre, training, study acting, and
No, physically also you were asking something. Right?
Yeah.
Keep yourself fit.
Yeah.
Keep yourself fit. There is yoga, there is calisthenics. You have access to everything on the net now.
Yeah.
Keep yourself fit. As in fitness, your definition should simply be that your body shouldn't limit yourself from doing anything.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Like, don't let yourself rot in a way.
No, if you're supposed to run, make sure that you can run a kilometer at least.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to sit down, get up, leap, or do something like that, something physically, and you're young, do it.
So-
Make sure you don't limit yourself and you don't have to tell your director, no, I can't do this.
So was this something that you were conscious of, or when you got into acting, was it like body banana hai mujhe? Like, was it one of those type of things?
नहीं, I was only interested in fitness. हाँ, body बनाने के लिए तो बचपन में बहुत पतला था. So I always had this thing that I should be a little muscular. When I came into television, I got the means to get a personal trainer. So I used to finish my shooting in RA.
Okay.
There was Sankraman. I used to shoot there. So 2-3 o'clock, my trainer Praveen used to wait for me in Bandra. So I used to drive to Bandra, work out and go back.
And after a 12-13 hour day.
After a minimum 18 hour day.
So you got 4 hours to yourself.
I would sleep on set, I would sleep in the van, I used to sleep in the car. They'd give me a personal small vanity van. I was pampered there.
And last thing about the same thing, about actors who want to break in. In terms of like even dealing with rejection, dealing with the ups and downs, what are the tools you use to help you navigate these things?
See, I can be very smart and say, these are the things that help me deal with rejection, but it hits me even now. Human beings are like that. We don't deal with rejection in a very positive way. But over a period of time, you get a thick skin. We become more resilient than what we used to be once upon a time, and we don't take it very personally. Now, what I tend to do now is, if I haven't scored the gig, I speak with the casting director and ask him, if you don't mind, can you tell me who got it? Generally, they don't. मुझे पता लग जाता है बाद में. But I asked them, मुझे क्यों नहीं मिला, या what could I have done better or differently to get this? Then there are some are sweet enough to explain. So it is not that. We just thought that. I'll give you an example. I had auditioned for this gangster's role in Lal Singh Chadda. Auditioned with one casting agency. They shortlisted me. Auditioned with another casting agency. They shortlisted me.
For the same character.
Same character.
Okay.
And then eventually I didn't get it. I called them. They said, no, they wanted somebody more menacing. I said, that's true. I wasn't looking menacing at that time. I said, take it. Then I thought that, should I come and do it more menacingly? Then I know, they figured. They know who they want to cast. Then later on, just a month before the shoot started, I got a call from the director, Advait. So, and he said that, we are looking at recasting this character. Do you want to come and have a meeting? So I went there. I met Amar sir also. Then I asked him, what made you change it? They said that we want a certain character to fall in love with your character. No, if we keep it that menacing, it is not looking right. So then they cast me in the film. But a few days later, they said, no, we are going with the original thing because it is more important for the character to be that menacing than
Him being likable to this girl.
him being likable to this other character. So they know what they want, and it is not that you are being rejected because
For your work.
the way I see it now, it's not necessarily for my acting capabilities, but whether I fit the role. So what I would advise people who are trying to break in, do your best, do it as honestly as possible, and you will get it if you are apt for it.
And do you think it's something that you can't just give it like, okay, like you can't just say, okay, on this summer vacation, I'm going to just take an acting class, and if I don't get in 1 year, I'm going to quit acting. It's not one of those things, right?
I don't know, man. There are different ways of approaching this.
Because what I've seen is like everything, like if you put hard work into anything, it could take you 1 year, it could take you 10 years, but you eventually do find your own success.
So many different factors. Yeah, I'm from Bombay. I'm from Mumbai. So I live here. There are kids who come from out of town. They have to set up everything A to Z. They have to give it an X amount of time. They have to go back. They are answerable to different people in their life. I cannot set a blueprint, basic blueprint. Nahi yaar. Depends on your factors, depends on what holding capacity you have, depends on your experience, life experience, which you bring to your auditions. I mean, somebody who's lived a very thankful life with a silver spoon in their mouth can't necessarily relate to a house staff. Depends on your life experiences. That doesn't mean you have to be, you have to work in a certain criteria to get that experience, of course, later on, So I can't really set a blueprint, yaar, ke tum log 6 mahine de do, 1 saal de do. How bad you want it.
Yeah.
That's what will hold you here.
And finally, how did Jawan happen?
It happened overnight.
Yeah.
Actually overnight. I had just completed another film. And I was going to get my beard off. And I got a call from one of my producers who was on television that, see, there is a film with SRK. There is a fight sequence. We don't know where the character is going to be later on. Because we're developing this character. This character wasn't supposed to be this important in the film. We are developing this character. This is what I promise you right now. You have this fight sequence with SRK. And you're going to be shooting for 8 to 12 days right now. So I said, fine. He said, go to Red Chili's, give your measurements. You start shooting tomorrow.
So nothing, no audition, nothing.
Nothing. They sent my picture to Atlee, sir. And he said, Dari, keep the beard. He likes it. That's it.
So how many days was the final shoot? 8 to 12 days, what they said.
8 days of the fight sequence.
Fight sequence, 8 days?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 6 to 8 days, I think. Nights.
And was that the most pampered you've ever been on set?
Pampered?
Huh.
No, yeah.
No, because such a big film, no?
But because it's such a big film, you know what responsibility lies on your shoulders. So I was very stressed, I was very tensed, especially doing a fight sequence with SRK. Jumping on him, pushing him, hitting him. There was one place where I'm supposed to hit him with a gun like that. And at least I went and saying, Eijaz, it's not looking like that. You do it properly. I said, how do I do it? If the gun slips from my hand, it hits his face. What do I do? And the gun is bloody heavy. You swing it and you are supposed to hold it.
Like just before you make contact. Yeah.
Just near his shoulder. When Shah Rukh Khan says, karna aise karke, bada karke kar. I didn't do that right.
Was it used in the edit, that shot?
Yeah, they used it.
But with action, you have the flexibility of cutting on movement more easily. Because there's so much happening, there's so much chaos in an action scene, right?
You can, of course. I mean, the director, the action director, they know exactly what they're doing. But for an actor, you don't think about these things while
You're trying to be true to the fight.
while performing. You have to give it as much as you can, as much as reality, as much as authenticity you can. Because if I'm supposed to run and go into SRK's pelvis with my shoulder and push him in, I have to do that. He's not going to take 2 steps back. His body posture will change. So I had to do that.
So these things are something that you learned over the years, or did you take martial art training or anything like that?
I did take martial art training at some point in my life. I did Wing Chun Kung Fu, I did kickboxing, I did proper boxing. That is only because I have a passion for it. I want to be active. Now I've broken so many things. I tore my Achilles tendon recently in football. I broke this. My left knee is gone. Both my shoulders are gone. So now I focus on not getting injured.
That's, I think, a wise approach to life. So we'll wrap up with this segment now. So any parting words of wisdom for the 300 people who watch my podcast?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Just about life.
Yeah. And especially anyone wanting to be a part of the film industry. What I have realized is, whatever I'm doing in life, be it anything towards my career, my relationship, or anything else, whenever there is an element of kaamchori or inauthenticity in my heart, I haven't succeeded. When I have been so blinded by the purpose of what I am doing, and that purpose is honorable, I have always succeeded. So keep that in mind. If you're coming in this because, oh my God, I'm going to get a lot of girls and I'm going to get boys or money and the fame and the trappings of it, they are trappings. But if you want to excel and you have that pursuit of excellence in you, then there is hope.
That's very, very important because you have to be in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
just feel that purpose has to be honorable. And you know what is honorable and what isn't.
Yeah, inside everyone knows what they're doing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and see you again next week.